Welcome to episode 2 of Production with Riley. So, when I tell you I'm going to share every step of the process, I mean every step. I'm assigning myself some music listening homework because I'm feeling a little lost with where the sound of this is going, and I have a feeling that it might lie in some styles that I'm not too familiar with and I haven't dove into yet. I'm a big believer in that everything is inspired by something, so I'm just going to listen to some music and go on a walk and let inspiration guide my next move. It's not stealing. I'm just gonna call it shopping for sound. Okay, so all my questions have just been answered by All My Love from Noah Kahan. I'm gonna tell you what I got from it. He kind of taught me that it's okay to have a little bit of percussion before the bass drum comes in. And I think that's what it was missing. Like, it sounds a little empty. Second, he has these here and there little like plucks. It sounds like a banjo. That would definitely give me a little bit like of a twangy sound that I want. The other thing was a stand-up bass. I think I need to open right with the bass line. There's also this instrument that Lizzie McAlpine uses a lot. She's one of my biggest music inspirations. It's in like every one of her songs, and I don't really know what it's called. I have to do some research. Maybe some strings and tambourine, maybe a harmonica. But I think in my mind it had to be simple and like just guitar before the bass drum comes in. But I think I can do more and then still have that be a big effect. That's what I learned today. I'm home and I'm setting up to record. But I just want to say, notice how I left the house not knowing what to do next. And now, just like a little bit of time to digest music and take in some inspiration, I'm overcome with ideas, and I have this whole bank of instruments now that I know I want to use. Okay, now we're back in this project with the bass drum, and the guitar is doubled. What if I brought this down an octave? And then maybe like with the EQ, I like muted it a little to make it similar to a ukulele. Okay, so I didn't find a ukulele sound, but when I lowered the pitch, it's adding a really cool texture under the guitar. Ooh, yeah, that's cool. You know, I'm going to move away from the ukulele idea because I think it might be holding me back. So I'm just going to move on. The most feasible thing I feel like I can do right now is the bass. Let's try to come up with that right now, actually. This is what I came up with for the bass. Hello, it's me later. I just thought of a cool melody and I gotta record it down so I can look at it later. It's either like a piano or maybe that plucky banjo I was thinking about. Okay, that's all. I'm gonna go back to working on the bass. Alright, that is the whole bass line through the whole song. Now that the bass is done, let's search for a banjo sound. So it's between this, for that melody I just made up, or... That's interesting. I will tell you what I come up with in a sec. I don't know if it's what I was thinking in my head. So what was the other option? Acoustic guitar. It's kind of giving banjo. I'm gonna keep looking. Oh, I like the pluckiness of that. What is that? I like short and sweet pluck. Okay, Sabrina Carpenter. This is the one I chose. But there are parts in this, like the ba-da-da-da-da, that I think might sound better on the guitar. So I'm just gonna add the guitar back, but then I'm gonna take everything else out but what I need from it. So I'm taking everything else out. I had another idea, and I know how I'm gonna use this one that I wanted. I'm gonna use it at the beginning of the chorus when phrases start, and it'll just enter the phrase like boom. Show musical typing. That's it. Like maybe here. Boom, boom. I want it to sound a little lower, so we're gonna turn up the low, see if that made a difference. Sounds like a chorus to me. I think what's missing in the chorus, I don't know if, maybe I'll save it for like another one, because a little rule I learned from Charlie Puth was to make every chorus different, because it can get boring to copy and paste directly the same thing every time. So he's like, what can I do to make each chorus different? Sometimes it'll be a different instrument. I think that's good for instruments for the first chorus. And then in the second chorus, I'm feeling like it needs like a chord, maybe like a piano. It's me from the future chiming in. I just want to say that I know this is kind of boring and very tedious, but I'm also trying not to leave anything out. So just bear with me for a little while longer, and then we'll take a chit-chat break, and I'll tell you about some behind the scenes of being an independent artist. But I do want to finish the production in this episode, and then in the next episode we can have some fun recording vocals. What I do want to do right now, I mentioned tambourine when I was thinking about all my options for instruments, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do that because I don't have a tambourine, but I do now because my boyfriend is staying over and he teaches little kids. One of the toys the school provided him was a little tambourine, and I can steal it for my song. I'm gonna set up all my recording equipment and get that tambourine down. Also, I just remembered I have this tripod. I don't know why I've not been using it. Now I'm all ready to record, and this is the star of the show, our main character. Okay, and I'm gonna try to edit this one. I got it to a place that's okay. I know I'm gonna keep tweaking it though. This is so messed up. It's not working. I'm cutting it. I do think that the chorus may be a little more in time. Like, it'll always annoy me. So, we're gonna keep the beginning how it is, but to fill it up more, I was thinking some random plucks of something. Just a little like, boom, boom. I'll bring the tambourine in the chorus. And now I'm gonna try to chop it all up and make it fit this. I don't know why it's not perfect, but I think it's just when you use a lot of live instruments, things get a little weird, but it'll come together. Okay, I'm finally happy with it. I'm confused. What are you doing? I should probably give you a sneak peek of this song so you get that it's not just instrumental. Like, there's words, there's a story, we got plot going on. I'll just keep going from where I just was. Forbidden use that refuses to leave. What's the use? We can't choose each other even if you heard my plead. It is only always me. You know? Like, I'm just going through this alone, like, watching from a distance, and I'm getting hurt, but, like, it's all my fault. Anyways. Something popped in my head as I was listening. Bing. 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 Well, I know it could be the plucks or that acoustic guitar. Let me just play around. I'll show you what I come up with. This is something that's finally working with the verse. Only thing is, it kind of sounds like a piano. I want it to sound stringy or plucky. I could keep searching, but I'm gonna try to replicate that in the second verse. I can't stop thinking and making ideas. So I just thought of only always me. Ah. I was about to go out and get food because I'm hungry, but now I have to see if that works. Me. And imagine that, like, full of harmonies. Hell yeah. See, that's so random. Like, why did I think of that? I don't know. But that's for later. We'll get to that. Hello. So I said I would talk about being an independent artist for a little bit. So if I had the luxury and the team and a studio and a producer, I would be like Taylor Swift, releasing an album every month. But since it's just me, the best I can do is about every 2 or 3 years. To put this in perspective, when I released my first album when I was still a senior in high school, I had already had the next 3 albums written before my first one ever came out. And I'm currently working on my 3rd album right now. So now, as you can imagine, since high school, I've grown a lot. I've written new songs about new situations, more albums, more drama, also pleasant things to write about. It's a strange thing because I just feel like you should know that the things you're hearing are not about my current life and feelings. It's kind of like a time capsule from years ago. It's always going to be that way. You'll just have to know that these songs have been existing and living and playing in my mind for a really long time. So that's also exciting when I finally get to share it. But like your favorite artists have a lot of help supporting them. I do have a friend that's a producer, and he's gonna produce one song on this album. I'm so excited. He worked with me a lot on my last album called Flying Solo, and I really like what he did. His name is Jack Johnson. His artist profile is just Jack in all caps. Check him out. But I got a lot more songs to go before I can release an album. But I've gotten pretty far. I've calculated how much listening time I've made so far, and I've got about 20 minutes of an album. That's pretty good. But basically, this whole process you're seeing right now, I have to do about 5, I guess, if you count the song Jack is working on. But I have to do about 5 more times before you can hear anything. But maybe this series will open your eyes to how much really goes into every single tiny detail. And that makes an artist really proud to finally share it when it's finished, because we've spent hours, especially when you release an album, like by then, that's your child. That is your baby. So I'm gonna get back to work so I can get to that moment. But yeah, I decided to go somewhere nice today to work on my music. I really like doing that. I did that a lot when I made my last album. I was living in Washington, D.C., and I would go sit in front of the big Washington Monument and just enjoy the scenery. Anyways, back to work. It is the next day, and I've done quite a lot to it. So let me explain to you the progress. Look at that. So first, I doubled the plucky sound at the beginning that was just like the really random stuff. And I put this string sound under it, and it sounds like this. Because I liked the idea of the string, but I thought it wasn't plucky enough, so I was like, why don't I just have both? And then it'll kind of sound like plucking a violin. Then I doubled the tambourine, and I pitched the second double up to give it a little bit of a thicker sound because there wasn't too many metal things on there. This is how it started, and then this is it with the double. It's just a lot thicker. So I copied and pasted the chorus to make it a little different each time. The second time I had a chorus, I doubled this plucky sound and I turned it into the guitar, so now there's both in the second chorus. But then the third chorus, I pitched up the guitar an octave, and it sounds like this. I haven't touched the bridge yet. That'll be this whole section. I know it's a whole nother beast because I'm going to introduce some new instruments that I don't know what they will be yet. That's the progress so far. Oh, another little thing I did was right here for dramatic effect. After the chorus comes in, beginning the second verse, I took out the double And I also did that after the bridge right here. This is like a really quiet moment of the song. So I just took out that bassy double. And now it just sounds a lot thinner and smaller. And then when it kicks back in, it'll be all the more dramatic. Exciting stuff! So, here's my game plan for what I think should happen next. First, I want to add back the higher octave guitar that we had in the last episode. I think it just got drowned out by everything else, and I want it to be more of a main character. I want to add some percussion in the second verse. It didn't go well with the first verse, but maybe some snare. And I think while the snare is introduced, I'll bring it in the next chorus and the bridge. And speaking of the bridge, I want to take a lot of the instruments that I've used so far and implement them. But I also want to figure out some new instruments that we can bring into the picture at the bridge. And that should be all. So I have a crazy update. I've just finished the production. I just sat on a picnic bench and didn't leave until I finished. 4 hours later, that's how it's done. You gotta just ride the wave before you know it. Things will get done. Hey-o. So I'm gonna walk home. When I get there, I'll play you some of what I did and I'll also talk you through it. In the next episode, we can watch the vocals and learn about that process, because that's crazy. Alright, so let's break this down. So the first thing I did was add these reverby drums. That comes in for the second verse. And then I've also got this little texture happening. But it's really quiet in the back because it's not really like a synthy kind of song, you know. It's more like a live band kind of song. So then I brought a piano into the chorus. And now the bridge, I introduced this new piano. But then the old piano that we had before, I put it down the octave. So it sounds like that. I copied and pasted the bass and put arpeggiators over it. This one is the one we had in the verse. And then this is a new one just for the bridge. It's kind of like bells. What those are doing are just giving it texture. And then we got this sweepy noise. I love it. And then last but not least, I added strings. So every time I had added a new instrument, I just kept layering onto what had been introduced before. And then by the end, we got this big sound, and that is what you call a build. And that is all, folks. So today we learned it's about a lot of trial and error and also following your impulses. That's basically all it is. Like at the beginning of this whole process, you have no idea what's about to happen. I just hear things along the way and I'm like, ooh, that would be cool. And I follow the impulses. I think it sounds pretty cool. So without further ado, I will see you next time. To be continued.